We got Nate Larcen with us in the building, representing from New Mexico. Nate Larcen, what it do?
How's it going?
Good, 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 good. Now, right off the rip, are you guys dealing with the same stuff Texas is dealing with?
No.
Okay. Now, New Mexico is right next door to Texas, or is it next door to Louisiana?
We're above Texas mostly.
Okay. Okay. So clear out of the water from what's going on down
There's
there.
like that handle that goes up between us and Oklahoma, but
Okay.
we're kind of
Okay.
northwestish from them.
Okay. All good. All good. So you got a beat tape out called My SOB. And this is all battle beats, correct?
Yeah.
All
It's the
right.
big SOB
Okay.
standing for sound of battle.
Oh, okay, okay. My sound of battle. Okay, okay. So let us know how long you've been battling, how long you've been producing, how did you get in the game as a producer? Give us the background on Nate Larcen.
Well, um, I started getting into production probably when I was around 11 or 12. And I was really, I mean, I've pretty much been drowning in hip hop culture since I was a little kid, just got kind of into it and just kept doing it. But I'm an MC as well and a vocalist, multi musician. I was in a band for a lot of years. So we got around the country a lot as a band. Um, and we split up, man, I don't even remember how many years ago it was, but I've been doing the hip hop thing since then, like heavy pushing that. But battling probably, I've been in battles like many times in my life, but I didn't start doing it really hard until this last year. So I was doing a lot of local stuff, and then I started doing like the track lib stuff. I actually won the Scott Storch beat battle, the track lib
Crazy,
beat battle for that
crazy.
a few months ago.
Right,
And that's when I was really like, all right, well, I need to start getting into this on an international level. And that's when I discovered your guys' platform.
right, right,
And that's kind of when I really started in terms of battle beats, making like battle beats, not
right,
just dope beats that I was
right,
throwing out during
right, right.
battles.
Okay. Well, let's jump into the first one right off the rip. This is called Slow, Low, and Banging. What inspired this particular track, and why is this the first opening track of the beat tape?
Um, I didn't have them in order for any particular reason, but it was one of the first ones that I did well with on your guys' platform, which I actually hadn't got past the first round. I think it was my first battle that I used this one on,
Right.
and I had won that track round. So I was like, I'll throw this on the beat tape.
Okay.
Most of these are, I think, all of them or the majority of them, I've used them in battles. So on the beat tape, they're twice as long. On the stuff I sent you is just the 60-second
Right.
ones that are used in battles, though.
Right. All right. Well, let's jump into the first one. Slow, low, and banging. This is Nate Larcen, my SOB, my sound of beats. Sound, all beats from battles, previous battles. Let's get to the first one. Slow, low, and banging. Let's do it. Now, I can't start this without jumping into what I see behind you. So, what instruments you all play? What's in your arsenal? What does it take to make what I'm hearing?
Um, well, for the stuff that I do on your guys' platform, I
Right,
actually pretty heavy with samples,
right,
and then I add instruments around it in my own drums. And sometimes I'll do sample free stuff, but for the most part on the World Beat Battle platform, I'm using samples with my instruments in the background or VS keys, what have you. But yeah, I play quite a few instruments. I play guitar, bass guitar, piano. I try to play the trumpet.
Right.
I'm good enough to play like stabs and sustains and stuff. So it's good enough for me to bring in and ride it out, you know.
Right. It definitely adds to the sauce. I always tell anybody, if you can play instruments, you can't lose. You know, it only adds to the sauce of what you can do. One less person you need to have give a co-production credit to if you can do it yourself.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Brass Viking. What is that about? What's the meaning behind the name? This is the second track off the beat tape.
There's a lot of horns in it. Like I really love producing with horns. It's one of my favorite instruments. I'm kind of a 90s boom bap head, so that kind of explains that. The sample I used in this, I pulled a couple samples from some like Viking war drums.
Right.
So that's kind of where that name came from. It was a mixture of the brass and the war drums that I had sampled.
Okay, let's jump right into it. Brass Viking, second beat off of the My SOB beat tape, Battle Beats, featuring Nate Larcen, New Mexico. Let's get it. Does New Mexico have a distinctive sound? Just like how West Coast kind of has, you know, their G funk, that gangster sound. The South has a sound. East Coast has a sound. Is there a sound associated with New Mexico?
To me, it kind of sounds like New Mexico's kind of thing is like an adaptation from like everything. It's kind of a melting pot.
Okay.
As far as like the artists that I've listened to, for the most part, it's very like we get a little bit of that East Coast, a little bit of West Coast, even a little bit of like that Midwest hip hop sound in there. So it's kind of everything, you know.
Okay. And
and it definitely, you can hear like accents, like in terms of like the music, like with rap on it.
Right.
You can kind of hear that sound with that, you know. But if you're listening to just instrumentals, it's kind of hard to pick apart exactly where our producers are from if you don't know where we're from.
Right. With that being said, who were some of the producers that mainly inspired you? If there's a list of like your top 3, your top 5.
In New Mexico or
just
everywhere?
Just you as a producer from anywhere.
Ninth Wonder, for sure. Da Vinci, I don't know if you know who Da Vinci is from Soliloquist the Sound.
Okay.
He's like, I think he's might even be the voice for MPC now. So he's dope.
Okay.
Man, there's so many. I'm drawing a blank now.
Right. Well, you started off good. Ninth Wonder, Soliloquist.
Large Professor.
Large Pro.
Man.
There's a lot that don't get enough credit because the ones you're listing of, sometimes Ninth Wonder will make it, but Large Pro, unless you're like, he's a favorite producer's favorite producer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So a lot of new cats don't mention Large Pro, and he doesn't get enough shine. But as I said, he's usually your favorite producer's favorite producer. So it's dope that you mentioned Ninth and Large Pro in that top 5. But keep going.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Oh man, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on this right now.
Oh, you had a good list. We'll keep it as the top 3. Ninth, Large Pro, and Soliloquist. That's a dope to start it off with. Track 3, Boomstick. I was gonna say broomstick, but it's Boomstick. What's the story behind Boomstick? How did that come to be? And what inspired it?
I don't even remember which sample I used for that one, but the name, it just kind of sounded like
It just fit it. It just fit the
70s.
It just fit the sound.
It reminded me of like something you'd hear in a 70s gangster movie or some like a pimp movie or something.
Right. Okay. All right. Boomstick. All right. Let's jump into it. Third track off my SOB beat tape, Battle Beats by Nate Larcen, represent New Mexico. Let's get it. What would you do different between a battle beat and a regular song beat? How do you differentiate between the two?
Well, for one, there's not as much room for like vocalists or artists on my battle beats. Like they're pretty full. I try not to leave a lot of room because I only got 60 minutes or 60 seconds to cram my toolbox in there, So, and like with battle beats, I tend to go hard and heavy, try to get like that hype out, as opposed to something like super smooth, like, I don't know, like I tried to step away from the soul side of things and get into like heavy, hard hitting drums and like tape stops and drum fills and breaks that are high.
Win or lose, after your first battle, what did you change in your style? How did you change your approach?
That was one of the big things. I started making the tracks bigger, and it took me a while to get into like that format of battling, but I definitely more change ups and like less bars per like section that I'm rocking, that I'm trying to catch grooves with. Definitely, like I've learned a lot of techniques like side chaining and mixing techniques that help get everything through clearer, and that stuff's that I'm still working on, trying to like perfect. I guess most of us probably are constantly trying to progress, getting bigger. But since I joined your guys' platform, it was like after losing, it was like I need to get better and bigger, so it's definitely inspired me to learn more techniques that I wouldn't have normally done until I got into battling internationally.
Dope. All right, let's jump into the fourth track, Brown vs. Mars. But before we jump into that, are you solely, I see mostly hardware around you. How much does hardware versus software play into your arsenal?
I probably use half and half.
Okay.
I have a drum kit, but I haven't played it for like 3 years.
Wow. Okay.
Because I've just gotten into the drums I've already sampled, and I don't have a lot of space for it, but I'm always on my keys and my guitars and my bass guitar, because sometimes you can't get that warmth out of the bass that you can with a finger bass,
Right. Got you.
But I'd say it's about half and half,
50-50? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like I use a lot of VSTs too, because there's some instruments that I don't have.
Right. What's your preferred DAW?
Cubase.
Cubase. Okay. That's nowadays is not one of the usual suspects as much. In our earlier days, it was always Reason, Cubase, FL. Cubase was always in the discussion. Nowadays, not so much. I don't hear it as much. But
You know, I've just been on it for so long, and I'm super fast navigating it, so
right.
I haven't left it. And I've tried other stuff like I have Ableton on my computer, but I never use it. I used to use it. I probably produced an album off of it, but it's Cubase for me so far. Like I've thought of making the changeover to Pro Tools, but I haven't been sold yet.
Okay. All right. All right. Another one of those go-to ones that most people use as the standard, but you can use alternatives. But anyway, if you like Pro Tools, knock yourself out. You know, there are alternatives, but
Yeah, I've only used Fruity Loops like once,
okay.
and I just didn't really get the workflow because I was used to using like an engineering DAW, more like Pro Tools or Cubase. So
Got you. Got you. It is a shift. All right. This is track 4. This is called Brown versus Mars. Anything we need to know about this track? The inspiration behind it?
the title kind of says it all. You know, it's sample heavy. I pulled a sample, James Brown's After You've Done It, I think is the song, and I pulled a vocal sample from Uptown Funk on it.
Okay. Bruno
that,
Mars
that I
meets
just heard. So yeah.
Bruno Mars meets James Brown. Let's see what this sounds like. Nate Larcen once again, New Mexico. Beat tape is called My SOB. Let's do it. I like the fusion. What are some of your preferred? I mean, I've heard 2 genres right there, but what are some of the other genres you like to mess with, fusing together or just on their own?
Oh man, anything that makes my ears happy, I guess.
Okay.
Like I like definitely soul and funk. I was kind of brought up on the whole soul, 70s soul, like late 70s soul stuff. So I really like that stuff. But like world music, like I like samba is great for sampling for hip hop. Um, anything with like great percussion. And like I said, stuff with brass, like some of the stuff I've done, like I've sampled some Carnival music because it's got like this big brass sound. So
Yep.
when I'm battling, I definitely try, if I'm sampling, I try to sample things that sound big. I don't tend to make the sound big after. Sometimes I will, but it's usually I'm looking for stuff that sounds big. So brass, right?
Okay.
I'm a brass guy for sure.
We got a question from the chat. They want to know, how do you come up with your tracks? Is there something that makes you motivated to make a certain track, or is it just random?
You know, sometimes like when I'm just driving around and I'm listening to music, like I'll try and listen to music I've never heard before. And that usually inspires me. Or like I'll hear something, I'll be like, oh, I need to sample that when I get home. So when I get home, that's what I get into. But it's kind of a spur of the moment thing for me when I get like heavy inspiration. Other than that, like my workflow is pretty good. So I can just crank out music, but sometimes I hear something or I'll listen to an artist and hear the way they do something. I'll be like, oh, I want to try that. And so it'll spew a whole track, after.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Chop Suey. What can you tell us about Chop Suey and why the name Chop Suey?
This is one of those Carnival tracks I was talking about, but the sample is Celia Cruz. Not too sure exactly. I think it's Mi Vida es Carnaval or something like that.
Okay.
But I really chopped this one up. So
okay, all right.
Really went at it. So.
Let's peep the chop game real quick. Chop Suey, Nate Larcen. Beat tape is called The Big SOB, One Tough Puppy 2. Let's get it. Has that been a big like influence in you? That kind of salsa, merengue, a lot of different versions of that sound. How is that?
Yeah.
Is that a big like influence in New Mexico as a whole, or just you personally as a producer?
I think there's a lot of producers here who probably get a little more into that Latin fusion, because there's a lot more Latino people here in general. So
hence the name New Mexico.
I'd say that could definitely fit into our sound for sure.
Okay.
There's a lot of really awesome Native American artists here too. So you hear a lot of weird like powwow stuff influenced into hip hop. So there's a lot of cool, weird stuff.
That's a dope sound when we have a producer, oh man, it escapes my name. My bad. There's a dope producer up here that does that, incorporates the native instruments, the Native American kind of sounds into his beats, and it's dope. The powwow stuff, the drums, it's very dope. It's very dope. If you know how to do it properly, it comes off really dope. The name will come back to me. Just escape my mind.
I tour with this group, Potency, from New Mexico, and they're all Native American, and their producer Fate is really, really dope. He definitely incorporates a lot of that stuff.
Okay, all right. We're gonna jump into track 6. Once again, this is Nate Larcen. The beat tape is called The Big SOB, One Tough Puppy 2. The beat is called Diving Eagle. Any significance behind that name? That sounds like a Native American name, just alone.
The track just kind of reminded me of falling or like diving. And then there's some pan work on it that is kind of like spinning. So that's just what I thought of when I was naming it.
All right. Diving Eagle, track 6, Nate Larcen. what do you take on the? I guess I could call it the current radio sound. Your production doesn't sound like the traditional stuff that's currently on the radio. Your trap, that kind of sound. How do you try to make any of that, or you just want to completely do what feels good to you?
The whole trap sound for me kind of got ruined by like mumble rap. So I feel like I would like it more if there wasn't so much of that combined.
Okay.
But I do tend to stray away from it. Like I said, I'm a 90s head. I'm a boom bap guy. And like I've produced trap sounding stuff, but I never go that full on trap.
Okay. Fair enough. With
The
that,
hi-hats are a little runny for me. Like just
right. Okay. With that being said, the next track is called "The Big Sound of Battle." What is that track about? And why the title of "The Big Sound of Battle"?
That one is kind of it's the track name or the title track for the album, the Big SOB. But that one, yeah, it used to have a different name. I'm not even sure what it was, but I changed that one just to have like a title track on that beat tape.
Okay. You do a lot of collabs, or you just a solo? You like to do your stuff alone?
I do. For beat battling, I don't. Okay. But like in terms of albums and stuff, full length albums, I definitely work with other rappers and singers and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get into the Big Sound of Battle. Once again, this is Nate Larcen, straight out of New Mexico. We're checking him out with the beat tape called The Big SOB, One Tough Puppy 2. All battle beats that he's used in battles, beat economy, 200, 500, 1,000, whatever the case might be. Is that dog, the cover, actually your dog?
Yeah, his name's Guru.
Guru, okay. Shout out to Gangstar. Shout out RIP to Guru. Yeah. He has a dog named after him in his honor. But let's get to it. The Big Sound of Battle, track number 7 off of Nate Larcen's beat tape, My SOB 2. Let's get it. Why did you choose that one as the I guess the title of the beat tape? Like why? Because you have 10 tracks. What I've heard so far, the other 6 are dope. Why that one was kind of like the name?
I think it is just one of my favorite ones that I had chosen, and it kind of, the change ups were pretty drastic on it throughout it. I mean, not too drastic, but I just liked that one in general.
How much effort do you put into transitions? I know you only have 60 seconds for a battle beat, so it's hard to cram so much in there. But how much effort do you put towards making sure there's transitions?
I definitely, before I got on Battle of the Beatmakers platform, I probably didn't pay as much attention to transitions like drum fills and tape stops and what have you. But now I'm probably doing a transition every 4 or 6 bars into another section, or I'll build up. I'll step off and add an instrument every 4 bars. I definitely constantly changing, not for, you got to keep that attention, because you got to keep that attention span in a battle, through the whole thing. So you got to keep people vibing on it.
People are surprised. A 60-second loop sounds like 10 minutes. Like if you just have a loop for 60 seconds, that sounds like 10 minutes. It sounds so long because they're just expecting something different. And you have to switch it up. to keep people's attention. But yeah, transitions
Yeah,
are definitely a big part of battling.
I don't even know if I do 60-second loops in my actual songs.
Yeah. I'm surprised when I hear it because there are some producers that still do that. They just have like a 60-second loop. It might have been a dope loop, dope break, but it just sounds so monotonous after 60 seconds. Like after the 30-second point, it's like, bro, if there's no breaks,
Yeah,
I gotta turn this off.
I got to hear something else.
Right. And some producers just don't get that. But track 8, break it down. Let's break it down. What's the breakdown on track 8 called Break It Down?
I named it Break It Down because of the sample. It's got the saying Break It Down right before it drops. The sample is State Terrorism State Terrorism by the Soul Jazz Orchestra.
Okay.
But yeah, this one's pretty sample heavy. And then I threw drums and maybe a couple instruments. I'd have to hear it right now because, man, when I'm producing for you guys, I'm just like cranking stuff out.
Right.
It's hard to remember everything I'm putting into everything.
No, I get that a lot. I get that a lot. Producers, like, they have 10 tracks, like they don't even remember what it is until they hear it again. Then it's like, okay, now I remember what inspired that. All right, let's get to Break It Down, track number 8 off of the My SOB, the Big SOB, One Tough Puppy 2. This is Nate Larcen, track 8, Break It Down. What was the inspiration behind that, as far as the instruments and stuff like that? I hear it almost like a salsa, another kind of salsa kind of vibe to it. Is that the direction that you're going with that?
I mean, I was driving in a car and I heard that song and I hadn't even heard of this group before, and I was like, I'm gonna flip that for a battle. Right. That was kind of that one. I mean, it kind of took off by itself.
Okay.
So that one was.
What are the craziest places or situations or inspiration? Like, where did the craziest things come from that you've been inspired by? Like a random movie theater, walking down the street, hearing an animal, somebody having a conversation. Like, what's the most randomest things you've heard or been around and you say, you know what, I'm gonna sample that?
Sometimes it's just sounds. Like I've been in like train stations and like hearing hearing trains coming and being like, I need to use that. Or even over the speakers, like I've sampled, like a few years ago, I flew out to Minneapolis to play a show out there with my buddy Carnage. But when I was there, I sampled the plane, like when we were landing and stuff. I sampled the whole welcome to the Twin Cities of St. Paul, Minneapolis. You know, I actually lived out there for many years. But when I went there a couple summers ago, I sampled it because I was working on a track with Carnage. So at the intro to that track that we did, I threw that sample on there because that's where he's living currently.
Are you walking around with a recorder? Like, how does this work? How are you getting the clean audio?
Well, that one I just sampled with the voice recorder on my phone. Okay. And my phone actually has really great quality when I record with it. But I mean, I could take noise out of samples for stuff like that. It's pretty easy because it's like intro to a drop. It's not something that has to be super sonically clean unless it's in a track.
Right.
But yeah, in terms of sounds, like sometimes I'll hear things in like industrial districts and stuff where it's like, I need to go set up a microphone and smack metal with a metal pipe and get a snare out of it or something, you know, stuff like that.
Okay.
But like in terms of weird stuff, that's kind of
Okay, all right. No, that's dope. That's dope. So,
Almost urban atmospheric stuff, you know.
anything can come from anywhere. Like
Yeah,
literally, there's absolutely no holds barred when it comes to sampling or inspiration. Like I've heard the craziest sounds any different parts of the world, and it could be anything can be sampled or flipped or whatever. So there's no
yeah.
boundaries, there's no limitations on being a producer sampling wise and sounds wise. Let's get into track number 9. This is called Beatbox Samba. Is there any actual beatboxing in this track or any inspiration from actual beatboxing?
Yeah, there is. It's from the song Bayana by Barbatukes, and it's actually a mashup between them and Sergio Mendes, Mas Que Nada, which actually he has the one I sampled features Black Eyed Peas, so I used some of their vocal
Okay.
chops in this one along with the Bayana track. And I also threw this like just this comedian talking to this crowd, and then the crowd starts cheering, but I chopped that so the cheers kind of sound like a siren over a part. That one's one of those weird ones, you know.
Okay.
I didn't hear it till I chopped it.
Right. All right, let's jump into it.
Definitely unique.
Beatbox Samba sounds interesting already. I want to hear what that sounds like that you're just describing of the cheering. So Beatbox Samba. This is track 9 off of Nate Larcen's beat tape. The Big SOB, One Tough Puppy 2.
Smoke a lot of weed.
Right, lived up to my expectations. I like that. And while we're on that tip, we want to say R.I.P. to Prince Marky D of the Fat Boys. The Fat Boys are one of the founding groups that inspired beatboxing. You know, Human Beatbox, Buffy, Dougie Fresh, Bismarck. There's a lot of dope, and my man from the Roots as well. There's been a lot of dope beatboxers, and it's kind of an element of hip hop that's kind of slept on. But it's dope that you brought that element back.
My buddy Carnage the Executioner, who I was just mentioning earlier, he's an amazing beatboxer. He's like, he goes, when he live tours, he'll beatbox and he'll beatbox a whole track and then he'll play his track over it. Like,
that's crazy.
He's pretty. Check him out.
Interesting. That used to be one of my roles in my little crew of artists. I was the beatboxer at one point, but this is years ago now. So
yeah, I used to be pretty heavy into it too.
Right. I got rusty over the years. But we're down to the wire. We got the last track, Good Feeling, and that's definitely what we want to leave this session with, a good feeling, a good vibe. This is the Big SOB. One Tough Puppy 2. Where's this song going to be available at, or where's it currently available at?
This beat tape is on Bandcamp. You can just search for Nate Larcen, NEIGHT LARCEN, and it'll pop up. My page will pop up, and it's on the page.
Okay, dope.
But that's all that this beat tape's going to be on. So that's the only place you can really find it.
Okay, all right, no doubt. Bandcamp, you can definitely check out this beat tape. It's called the Big SOB. Once again, One Tough Puppy 2. It's a bunch of battle beats. They're all beats that have been battle tested. This is Nate Larcen representing New Mexico. The final track off the beat tape is called Good Feeling. Let's jump right into it. Who did you sample with that good feeling? Yeah, I know that. I know that from somewhere.
Etta James
Etta James. Yes, yes,
from the
yes, yeah.
song "Good Feeling."
Yeah, yeah. I knew that voice. I'm like, that just stuck me for a minute. Like, I know that voice. Who's that?
Yeah,
Okay.
the horns chops are from there too.
Okay. Etta James has some crazy songs. At Last and
Yeah,
what's the other one that Beyonce flipped in a movie? I can't remember the name right now. But
yeah, she's easily in my top three soul singers for
she's
sure.
way up there. She's way up there. A force to be reckoned with. All right. Well, here you have it. This is Nate Larson, New Mexico Zone. Dropped 10 bangers on us, battle beats. You might have heard some of them in Beat Economy 200, 500, 1000. He's been in a few battles. So definitely look out for him to be in upcoming battles. But this is the beat tape. This is a part two of the series.
Yeah, last year I put out One Tough Puppy, which was what that was. That wasn't battle beats, but what it was just songs over the years, beats that I had in my repertoire, that I had never used, but it was a combination of a bunch of big ones. So I felt like this was a good sequel to that
Okay.
because these ones just came even bigger.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to sign off. We want to salute you once again, Nate Larson, for coming through, chopping it up, letting us know what it's all about. This is the Beat Tape Breakdown. We got Sarcastic Sounds coming up in a few minutes, so just hang tight. We're going to be right back. So, go get a sip, go get whatever it is you want to do on this Sunday afternoon, evening, and we'll be right back in about 5 minutes. Salute once again, Nate Larson.
Peace. Thank you.